I am very discouraged, disappointed that we passed today Senate Bill 603 and 4. The current law regarding the Board of Canvassers is very clear. I'm not going to take the time to read every section out of the law currently, but it's very, very clear that in a case of a recount, if somebody suspects fraud, they are able to bring that to the Board of Canvassers. The Board of Canvassers are permitted to investigate fraud. Contrary to everything I've been hearing on the other side of the aisle, in posts, the media not covering it, it is clear as a bell that if there's allegations of fraud in a recount, that the Board of Canvassers have currently the ability to investigate fraud. They also have currently the ability to subpoena. They have subpoena power. It's very clear in the law currently, despite what the other side says and despite the fact that the media will not print any of this for the public to be aware of. This bill, 603, removes that ability from the Board of Canvassers. It is a big change. What they put in instead is, well, if you suspect fraud, turn it over to the hyper-partisan Attorney General. Oh, I'm sure if it's a Republican making that claim, it's going to get a thorough investigation. Or turn it over to the hyper-partisan Democrat prosecutors within the big cities where the majority of the votes are. Oh, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of investigation of fraud from those individuals. It is being done after 70 years of having this system. All of a sudden, we have to strip the power from these Board of Canvassers. They say, well, there's never been an example where it was used. Completely untrue. In the 2020 election, first in 2016, I believe in Detroit, it was 72% of the precincts couldn't be recounted, mostly for an overcount, for a whole series of issues. Broken open ballot boxes, so we gave them more time and money, and what happened in 2020? It went from, I believe, the 72% to 79%. How can this happen? So these very astute Board of Canvassers for Wayne County said, we want to find out what happened. What happened then? They had a tsunami of death threats. Of all the death threats that I've heard bantied around, the absolute worst I have ever heard was against that Wayne County Board of Canvassers. A female who was doxxed, her daughter was doxxed. They sent horrific things to the mother. One of them was a tortured, bloody, murdered little girl the same age as her daughter, and said, if you don't vote for this, is going to happen to your daughter. Now, of all the threats I've heard, nothing have I heard is more despicable, disgusting than that. If that had been me as a parent, I don't know what I would have done. So what did the law enforcement do? They waited 4.5 years to look at this case and investigate this case. And the most severe threat I've ever heard, verbal written threat, she was given 5 days of suspended sentence. This is what's happening in terms of real, true threats going on here. And the people who had the ability to the investigation, stripped out, gone with this bill. After 70 years of this bill, the Democrats have stripped out the ability of the Board of Canvassers to investigate fraud in a recount and to get subpoena power. And now you refer it off to these hyper-partisan individuals who will never prosecute this. This is an outrage that we have had this bill passed. I don't know what to do in terms of expressing to the people here in the state of Michigan why the Democrats are doing this now. 70 years of a bill that has worked well, and the Democrats stripped the provisions out to stop fraud. I think the people here in the state of Michigan know why the Democrats have done this today. Thank you. I'd like my comments printed in the Journal.